Joshua Schmidt, you ended up top 64 here at the European Championship, so again, another top. Yeah, is there anything you want to say before we go to the deck profile?
Not so much. Decided to play Nekroz. I still think it's the best deck in the format, even though there's a lot of hate for it.
Yeah.
But if you prepare well, I think it's the best deck. So.
Okay. Yeah, let's see this.
So it's 3 Valkyries. It's staple in my opinion.
Alright.
That's like 2 Unicorn, 2 Brio, 2 Colossus. I really don't think 1 Colossus is viable because you just miss the option. You will miss the option because the Shred cannot search a ritual spell if the Colossus is gone. So 1 Trish I think is enough at the moment because Veiler is very unpopular. I played Decisive Armor, which is, I don't think it's a very good card, but I need it because I'm using the Exile and Sorcerer. I'll explain that in a second. But yeah, basically for that, and it's a good card. Also, there was the new Clifford Tower deck, where you need this to get over tower, otherwise you don't really have an out. I lost to that deck in top 64. I lost to Federico, but not because this deck was like good or anything, just because I bricked horribly. I didn't play a single card in both games. Even though he doesn't even run many floodgates. I think he only runs Emptiness and Skill Drain. He didn't see them, but I just drew unplayable both games. Like I played no card in both games, like 5 minutes. So yeah, the size of armor and then also the Gungnir. I think the Gungnir in any regular Nekroz build is not that great, especially in the mirror match. It is a good card with Clifford. Like I played like 4 or 5 Clifford, and besides the top 64 one, they were all the regular lose 1 turn floodgate stuff, and I won all game once against this deck just by using this and the books. But if you use Exile and Sorcerer, he becomes also very good in the mirror match because there is a scenario which is quite common with Exile in the grave and Sorcerer banished, where you only need 3 cards, including a Senju or Manju and any Nekroz card to get an OTK for 8,000 damage through Valkyries with Gungnir. But in the regular version, it's just way too unlikely to actually OTK with Gungnir. 3 Manju and 3 Senju. Yeah,
of course.
2 Shred. It's enough. 3 is better for opening hand consistency, but you run out of targets, so it's fine. Exile and Sorcerer. So what they do is they create a different style of resource management, a different style of playing, especially in the mirror match, because like when he's tributed, you search Valkyries, Unicorn or Gungnir, and when he's tributed, you search Decisive Armor. And when he's banished, you can send a Nekroz monster from the deck to the graveyard, which is pretty much only him that you want in the graveyard. And when he's banished by anything, you can special summon a banished Nekroz monster, which is the Sorcerer or the Shred. And there's like very linear plays, just like turn 1 Valkyries with Shred, search Bryanek, search this, tribute to 2, have an empty board, have the Valkyries save in your hand without even using any Jew. Like if I would open that combo, I would even save my Jew for later, because you just don't need it. I think this is the best opening without a Jew, and even with a Jew, I would prefer to go with this. And what you do is then you banish this to stop their attack with Valkyries, and then send this to the graveyard, and that opens up a lot of plays for the next turn because you can banish this and bring this back. And also against like back row grinding decks, if they don't have a floodgate in game 1, you pretty much win if you get these off, because there's just not enough back row to stop all that you can do. Because they kill, like you summon Valkyries, you tribute that stuff off, you search, which is already plus, and then they have to deal with your field, they have to deal with your cards in hand, and then you can still banish this, get the next ritual spell for free, get the Shred back for free, and basically create a whole new ritual out of nowhere. So like the back row is just not enough. If they don't floodgate you game 1, you just win. Same after side deck. So and then the 1 Bullblader. It's the best Jin out in my opinion because it's the best card on its own. Like there is outs to all of the warriors, but this one is the best when you draw it. And when you summon it attacking the Valkyries, it at least survives for maybe a turn, so there's an additional chance that he might be useful. 3 Rhodas is just stable. 6 Mirrors. I've played a lot with 3 cycles because I found them really useful in the mirror match for resource management, and in general you could beat your opponent if you had a 7th mirror, but that's only if you really end up going into the grind game. So if you get locked out, it doesn't really help. So I decided for 2 shared rights in the main deck because mirror match was the biggest deal. Like we didn't enter this event to just top, so we didn't want, like, if you face 5 rogue decks, 5-6 rogue decks in Swiss and we lose because we meant that, it's fine. Like, in the end we just wanted the top 4, and we thought Nekroz would be the most popular in the top cut, so we decided to go with this.
Right.
And it was fine. Like, I won all my mirror matches except for round 1 where I played Christos, who is also used almost the same list. He's in my team, so yeah, basically a complete mirror match. And he ended up taking that from me, but all the other mirror matches I won. And then I used 1 Book of Eclipse, 1 Book of Moon and 1 Raigeki as my spell Jin outs. I had 2 Eclipse for a long period of time instead of the Raigeki, but the Raigeki is just a very good card for OTKing with Gungnir, and it also helps you to beat the Jin log after they have established it for a few turns. Like, if they have established a Jin log, a Manju, a Laval chain and stuff, you have to Book of Eclipse and there's 3 monsters, and then you have to get rid of all of it, otherwise they draw a lot of cards. And if they have Valkyries in hand, it's very hard, because like you Trish 1 monster and then you attacking the Valkyries, and it's 2 monsters, they draw 2, you still lose basically. That's what I'm saying. So if you Raigeki that board, you can come back. And 1 preparation, of course. And the last card is Torrential, because Torrential is a sick card in the mirror match at the moment. Because you just take out the Valkyries. So you take out 2 draws from them, and basically the summon was for nothing. And it's also a Jin out, of course. And against other decks it's also pretty good. Like against Ritual Beast, Burning Abyss, if you can set up a Dweller, or if they have already used a few of their effects, you just Torrential, and it's just a game-winning card. So yeah, it's pretty strong. So that makes it 40. No MSTs in the main deck. As I said, we were focusing on Nekroz, and if you lose game 1 to Mistake, that's what it is. The chances that they have Mistake and you have the MST is not that high. So I lost 2 games against rogue decks that were maining Mistake. I lost game 1, but it's fine. I beat both of them after side deck. So side deck is 2 Lancia. It's a very good card in the mirror match because you really like to leave your board, because it's very inefficient to clear your board, because you have to do it anyways next turn again. Like you summon the Valkyries, you want to summon it next turn again, and so on and so forth. And like even in game 1, I like to just keep the Valkyries on board and tribute my Sorcerer and Exa from my hand, just to get the resources going on. And if I could back that up with a Shadowrite, it would be really good, because I was not really fearing the Trishula, and this makes it even better. Like you want to get the death draws out of your hand, the Exa, the Sorcerer, so you sometimes cannot clear your field. So this as a backup is really good. 2 Danko, mainly versus Burning Abyss. It's not that great against stuff like Cleave War. You basically rely on MSTs more in these matchups. But it's really good against like the decks that run like Mind Crushes, Fiendish Chains and so on and so forth. Then the 1 Jin is in the side deck. I'm not maining it because I just find myself really not using it. And like in testing I just never really went for it, and it was only there to ask people to side out their copy. And sometimes maybe like Ritual Beast or something outside it in. But I never missed it the whole tournament. Like in no mirror match I would ever go for a Jin. Basically we had Jin in the deck and only 1 Shadowrite, and I found myself only making Jin when I drew it, and so basically it could always be a Shadowrite, so I decided to put the Shadowrite in, and it worked very well. 3 MSTs, of course. 1 Galaxy Cyclone, because I felt like it was better than a 3rd Decree, because it works a little better with Danko, and it was really good for me over the whole tournament. I didn't draw it so much, but when I drew it, it was pretty solid. The 3rd Shadowrite I think is one of the best cards at the moment in the mirror match. 2 Royal Decree only. These were not too good for me this weekend because I didn't play any Burning Abyss. Like I played a few rogue decks, but those were like 4 or 5 Cleaveward and a Shadol. And against these decks it's not that great because it's slow and they can pop it with Helix or Dragon. So I'm thinking I would like Twister, because against the 1 Cleaveward I lost to in Swiss. I won game 1 and game 2 and 3. I lost both games to Necro Valley. And this doesn't help against Necro Valley, this doesn't help against Necro Valley, and this doesn't neither. So I'm kind of thinking I should have put like 2 Twisters in here somewhere. But yeah, these are good against Burning Abyss. 1 Mirror Force is a card that is very useful because you have to adapt to Fiends coming in from the side deck in every matchup pretty much. And I even cite this in the mirror for a very similar reason, that Torrential is very good in the mirror at the moment. But this is of course a little bit more dangerous versus Trishula, which is why it becomes really good if you have this as well. the Lancia, but in general, really good card. And then the breakthrough skill was in here because I was fearing the Fiends, I was fearing Anoyatilis, and this is not very good against Shaddoll because they can just turn the Anoyatilis in defense position or just also like attack, Mirror Force, chain El Shaddoll Fusion, summon it in defense. So this was just a safe out which I could have, and then the one Emptiness is to side out in the mirror match, and if they don't agree, you side it in because it just wins.
Right. Okay.
The extra deck is level 12, obviously, 2 Heralds, of course, the 11. Of course with Gungyu you have to play it, but I think even without Gungyu I would use it because it helps when you brick with like Clausulus, Valkyrius, Kaleido, hands like that, you can use it. Direwolf, one of the best cards against rogue decks because you just go Manju, Kaleido, Unicorn, grind the back row, search the next mirror, so Exiton also amazing. 1 Emerald, just 1 Emerald, I thought that would be enough, and 1 chain also because like you don't even consider a second chain if you don't run Jin in the main deck. Castell, Dweller, Cowboy. These two I almost never summon them, but you have no other go-to rank 4 against Shaddolls because all of these you just get Shaddoll fusioned on. But most of the time it's better to leave Unicorn anyways against Shaddoll. But if you want a rank 4 to go into, you have to have this. And if they don't have an out somehow, then they just win the game against Shaddoll or Burning Abyss. So yeah. And the last one is Double Rhapsody.
Right.
We use Double Rhapsody because it is very good in the mirror match to just basically you attack early on into the Valkyries and they have like a Valkyries and a Shrid or a mirror in the graveyard, and you just want to do it because to disrupt them a little bit, like just banish the 1 Valkyrie so they can't simply cycle it back, so they have to do weird plays, summon the Valkyries from hand. But what happens if you do that early on in the game is that late game you are missing the second one for the last 2 mirrors or something, you know? Which means that if we have Double Rhapsody we can outgrind them easier, which is why also we didn't need the second Emerald because we basically use these to out-resource them. And yeah, it basically makes it more awkward to them to play against Double Rhapsody because they'll lose 4 cards from the graveyard basically if we resolve both, yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Joshua, any last words? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean like top 64 is pretty much like not much because it's like top 4 or nothing.
Yeah.
But I think the deck was really good. I think I was very prepared. It just I drew unplayable in top 64, so that kind of sucks. But I like the format. Nekroz format was pretty good, but it's probably going to be over soon.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Joshua, thanks for the deck profiling. Congrats with your top 64 spot at the European Championship. Thank you.